Hey everyone, welcome to Past Lives and the Divine. I'm Gina, and this is the podcast where we talk about past lives and the divine and our connection to it and how it weaves in and out of our lives. And we do this for healing. We do it to feel a little bit better, to feel a little more connected, and of course we do it for some entertainment. In today's episode, I have another recording of a client session, and I am really excited for you to listen to this. This one was really interesting for me to re-listen to because this client, her session was in May of 2020, so it's been a little bit over a year. And when I think back, or when I think about this client, I think of how, and she's had a session with me since. So when I think of it, I think of her as someone who excels. She's someone who gets the information very easily. And it made it even more. I wanted to show you this recording or have you listen to this recording because I think of her as someone who excels in this. And even she, you'll see way back in this session over a year ago, it was her first session with me. She is pretty, it takes a little bit to get into the scene, to get into the past life. And I think, so what I'll say there is at the beginning of the session, it's like the first 5, maybe 10 minutes where it moves a little bit slower. But I wanted to keep it in there because I want you all to see these sessions when they're not spiffed up and perfectly edited, because I think when we go into our own past life regression, if we never hear other people's struggles, if we never hear the long pauses, if we never hear about, kind of the real nitty gritty of the experience, we kind of go into it. And if it takes us a little bit longer, or we can't get the information like we thought it would come in, then right away we can kind of get into that blame, or I'm not doing well enough at this. And I just wanted you to listen to this, to normalize it, and to say, it doesn't matter. If you have a hypnotist, you're working with a facilitator who's worth their salt, whatever that means, they'll be able to calm you, bring you through it, right? That's our job. That's what I believe. So just when I hear other people who have had past life regressions and they're like, oh, but I didn't go anywhere, I just wonder if that's really true. I mean, what if I was the type of hypnotist or facilitator to kind of give up after 5 or 10 minutes and be like, oh, it's not working for you? I think that would be a failure on my part. I don't attach my worth as a facilitator, as a hypnotist, to the outcomes from a client, but I do pride myself on being able to be calm, be in the moment, be creative, and be the tour guide in the situation. So I was like, oh my gosh, this session is even better than I thought. I'm so excited to bring it to the listeners, you all. I think you're really going to like it. So at the beginning, that's where we start, just like all of these episodes. I cut out the 20-minute induction because it's just me talking to get the client to the first scene. And if you're wondering what an induction is, and if you don't really understand what that is, head over to episode 3, Anatomy of a Past Life Regression, and I go deep into what happens in these sessions, why, when, common things, common fears. So that's a great episode to check out if you have some questions. And have a listen to this. This client's intention had to do with just being open, showing, experiencing whatever it is that she needed to experience. And then she had some specific questions around relationships and just kind of the same situation she kind of gets herself into, which I don't think is uncommon, whether it's a friendship thing or a family thing, or it's a lover thing or a romantic thing. We can get into these, patterns and rhythms, and even if we're getting into a new relationship and we think it looks totally different, and then the curtain kind of gets pulled back and it's fuck, it's the same thing. So it was interesting to go back, and there is in this session, this client just had so much. I just thought she had a few good one-liners from her spirit guides, let people splash. They're not going to drown. Like, and if you're someone who tends to want to fix people or help people or save people from themselves. And then another one was like, if you trip, just keep walking. Like, if you mess up, if you forget, if you make a mistake, keep going. Trust yourself. You got this. You'll see it. It's just really valuable messages. And then at the end, we do a little bit about nails, like nail biting, nail picking. So if you're someone who does that, and even if you're not, it might just be kind of interesting to listen to it. I left the hypnotic suggestions at the end. I left those in just so you could hear it. If you're someone who is like, ooh, I need that, or I need to hear it, you can either just take that few minute little blip in this recording and listen to it on your own. Or if you feel like you need more, you can go to pastlivesandthedivine.com/shop. And I do have a hypnotic track specifically for nail biting. And I can tell you from my experience and the people who have purchased that recording and who I've followed up with and we've had conversations about, in a perfect world, I'd follow up with everybody, but I don't. I just don't have the bandwidth. But for most people, and myself included, the shift is this really subtle way of not even really looking at my hands, not even really, because I used to bite and pick at my fingers, and I still do a little bit, but it's something that's very manageable. I think it's like pretty normal, like if I have a weird hangnail or a broken nail. And so those things seem normal to me. They're not like making my nails look worse than I want them to. So just keeping that in mind, I think we all have our funny little habits that we do that we maybe don't need to do. And so if you're a nail biter, if you're a nail picker, if you feel like you're just kind of a picker in general, that might just help as well. Another thing I want to call out in this episode, after the past life scenes, we do a healing modality to help her release kind of this block, this fear that was preventing her from leaning into her gifts and her power and really trusting it. And so this was across her shoulders. And after the past life scenes, we go through a healing modality where I help guide the client to release it. And I think I've said this on previous episodes. This is the type of healing modality that is totally customized to you, by you, not by me, by you. So you can do this without me anytime. Of course, if you do it and you feel like you just can't relax into it and you'd like some help, I'd love to help you. But listen to that and just kind of get a feel for it. And if you feel that lack of trust in your gifts, that wanting to know more or feeling blocked or held back, you can always get into your own body and then energetically release it. So I have episode 78 from August of 2021, and that actually is a free hypnotic healing, and it's about releasing blocks, but it's really, really similar. So if you listen to that part and you're like, I want more of that, then go to episode 78. And in this session, this client was just kind of wrapped in love and acceptance and just joy from her spirit guides. And anytime a client is kind of overwhelmed with a really positive emotion, whether it's they're experiencing the energy of someone who has passed away, or a spirit guide, or an angel, or a past pet who passed away, anytime someone gets in that space of just like unconditional love, pure joy and delight, and just like the most beautiful form of love, I guess, it's just unearthly, I like to just kind of pause the session and let them feel it, be it, and get into it. Because the more we feel a feeling in general, the more we feel a feeling or say a word or have a thought pattern, the easier it is to do it in the future. That's just the way our bodies work. It's called neuroplasticity. So I use that in the session where I play the crystal bowl. I was in the same room as this client, and I was playing the crystal bowl. And so at that part, I kind of cut off the crystal bowl and I make the audio portion really, really small or really, really quiet because the bowl is just like so loud. Even when I was recording this episode and doing the edits, Roxanne, my dog who does not like the crystal bowl, is just like, what are you listening to? Just the looks that she gives me is so funny. But the bowl feels so good. And the thought is that it kind of raises your awareness, raises your consciousness, not only in that moment, but in general, kind of burning off the things that keep you down, hold you back. And it's just this really beautiful thing. And I usually do it for a few minutes, and it really just kind of depends. Reading the emotions in the room, feeling like when it's all done, feeling when it's complete, I should say, not necessarily done. And it's just a way for the client during that time for them to really amplify that within their body, become totally familiar with how it feels in their body. We get a lot from our bodies. Our bodies like are big antennas. We get a lot of intuition through feelings in our body, but a lot of times, especially us women who are culturally programmed, at least in the United States, to be so focused on like how we look or what do other people think or, all the guilt and all the shame and all of that stuff. And it's not just women, but because I am a woman and because most of my clients are women, I see this a lot. And it's almost like a lot of women feel disconnected from their intuition, and it almost seems like there's a connection between a disconnection from intuition and disconnection from body. Not all the time, but I don't know. If you hear me say that and it resonates with you, maybe dig into that. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then you know what? When you need it, maybe it will. It'll show up again. Let's just say that. So anyways, I cut that out a little bit. But otherwise, I really just cut out extremely extended pauses. And it is the session in a pretty raw form. So I love sharing these with you. Now, if you listen to these client recordings and you have a question for the client, any question, go to pastlivesandthedivine.com, click on the podcast tab, and then click on submit a question. And you can submit your question and I'll get it. And my plan is later this year into 2022 is to have some of these clients back on if they want to. It's more than enough that they're sharing their recordings, but have them back on if they want to answer any follow-up questions, say how they're doing, and just kind of get a post report. I always like the afters of an interview. So keep that in mind. And if you do have questions, just submit them in. I take them, put them in an email folder, and use them in the appropriate podcast episode. So know that you have that. Okay, I think that's everything. As always, if you like this, forward it to a friend. Head to Apple Podcasts, click the 5 stars. I'd love you forever. If you want to click 0 stars or 1 star, don't worry about it. You don't have to go looking for that review button. Okay, are we ready? Gather around the fire for my client and friend and her past life regression. In this scene, do you get a sense if you're inside or outside?
I'm not really getting any details on a scene.
Yeah, tell me more. What are you getting?
Kind of some flashes of light, but mostly dark.
Okay, so let's go with that. Can you move toward that darkness?
I'm more in the darkness.
Okay, good. So is this darkness, is it totally black, or do you have a color?
Kind of like an iridescent rainbow color.
Ooh, okay. So we're going to move forward into this space. And as you move forward, we're going to come to a stairway. And that stairway is going down. And you're going to be at the top of those stairs on the count of 3 if you're not already there. 1, 2, and 3. At the top of the stairway now, we're going to take these 5 steps down this stairway. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. At the bottom of this stairway now, has the color changed or has the scene changed? What are you aware of?
It's hard for me to visualize the stairs.
That's okay. All you have to know is that you went down those stairs. And so what I want you to do now is just whether you can actually visually see it or not, do you get a sense at the bottom of these stairs? I'm not just trying to get a feeling for right where you are so there is no wrong answer. Do you see anything? Know anything? Whether you're inside or outside?
I'm inside. I don't see anything, but I feel like there's a door.
Okay. So let's just observe this door for a second. Is it tall? Is it short? What do you think? Whether you feel it or you can see it?
It's rounded.
Okay, good. Is there a window in the door or is it
No.
solid?
Wood.
Okay. What's the door handle like?
Like black metal.
Okay, good. How do you feel about this door? Do you want to go through it?
Yes.
Good. So I'm going to count to 3, and when I get to 3, you will have opened that door. 1, 2, and 3. Opening the door now. Stepping through that door into a scene of a past life. And just allowing any sort of details to come in. And these details might be a picture in your mind's eye, or they might just be a knowing when prompted by a question. Do you get a sense when you go through this door if you're inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay. And do you get a sense for what's around you? Whether it's trees or mountains, the ocean, water, tall grass, a meadow. What seems right?
Maybe a forest.
Okay, good. And that's all you got to do is just respond to the questions, knowing that getting information from the subconscious mind is something that takes a little bit of practice. So standing in this forested area, do you get a sense of what you're wearing on your feet? Whether you're barefoot or wearing boots or sandals, something else.
It might be barefoot.
Yeah, okay. Good. And now feeling as if you're barefoot, do you get a sense for the type of ground you're standing on? Whether it's mud or dirt or rocks or grass or sand?
Like a very soft, fine grass.
Oh, good, good. So let's just feel that. Like maybe you can even feel that soft grass on your feet. Maybe you feel a breeze. Maybe you feel the sun on your skin. Just becoming aware of any detail that drops into your awareness. And that could be a knowing, it could be a feeling, it could be a seeing. Standing here in this forested area on this grass, do you get a sense of your gender?
No.
Okay. And that's okay, that'll probably come later. As you're standing here in this grass, if you were to run your fingers along the clothing that you're wearing, do you get a sense if it's rough or smooth? What else are you aware of in this scene? This forested area, standing in this grass.
Like maybe this is just my place.
Oh, tell me more. Like your safe space?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And let's just take a few moments of silence and just relax here. And just being curious about the next detail that's going to come in. And just kind of training that subconscious mind to slowly bring stuff in. How do you feel in this space?
Calm.
Good. Anything else?
No.
Okay. So let's just relax here, knowing that more and more details will slowly begin to come in. And before you can even doubt them, just grab onto them and take it. Standing in this forested area, maybe some barefoot on some fine, soft grass, feeling calm. Are there any other feelings here? Is this space familiar to you in any way?
Yes.
Yeah, what's familiar about it?
Kind of the nature, I guess.
Okay. Do you get a sense, is anyone near you or around you in this space? Or do you feel like you're alone?
I feel alone.
Okay. So let's move forward just a little bit in this scene, whether it's your safe space or a past life. Just open to any experience that'll help you where you're going today, help you on your path of evolution, knowing that our spirit guides work together to give you that experience. And so let's move you forward, whether you take a minute walk forward or backward or to the side. And imagine yourself moving further into this space, into this forested area. And as anything else comes into your imagination, your intuition, your knowing, are you aware of anything else here?
There's a pond.
Oh, good. Good. Is there anything in the pond?
No, but it's very blue.
Oh, good. How do you feel standing next to this pond?
Happy.
Okay, good. So let's just stay here. Let's just hang out by this pond, feeling this happiness. Noticing any other emotions that come into your being in this area.
I'm happy, but I think I'm also afraid.
Okay. So feeling that fear, knowing that you're safe. And let's let this fear tell us something. Like, what is the fear? Maybe in this scene, maybe you're hiding from someone or waiting for something or traveling somewhere.
I think I'm hiding.
Okay. Now again, knowing that you're safe. Do you get a sense of what you're hiding from? If it's a person, if it's like a stranger, authority, your parents or family. Or is it
I'm hiding from people, but I don't know what they want.
Okay. So we don't necessarily need to know the why behind it. Sometimes when we feel into the emotion of a scene, more details will come in as to what's causing that emotion, or what goes with that emotion, or where you're going with that emotion.
And so moving into that, hiding from people, feeling a little fearful, do you get a sense that in this moment by this pond you're actively hiding from people? Or do you get a sense that in general you're in hiding?
Like maybe I'm hiding in plain sight.
Oh, tell me more.
This is a space where I am often.
Okay.
Like a calm thinking space. And so I could easily be found here, but I guess I don't want to be.
Okay. So if would be being found be an inconvenience, or what would happen if you were found?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's the fear.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Now, as we've gotten more and more details out of this scene, you feel yourself standing by this pond, this space that's calming, makes you happy. But there's a little bit of fear, like you're hiding. Within that, are you aware any more of like whether you feel old or really young or somewhere in between?
I feel young.
Okay. And in this youngness, do you get a sense of a number, like an age or an age range, and just to trust the first number that pops in your head?
18.
Okay, good. Good. Do you get a sense yet, if you feel like, what gender you are?
I'm female.
So let's move this scene forward just a little bit. So maybe we move it forward a few minutes or a few hours. Moving the scene forward, knowing that it's forwarding as if you were to hit fast forward on a remote control. And then we're going to hit play. And so a few minutes or a few hours have passed by. And something else is happening, whether it's a change, you're leaving or you're doing something else, or someone else comes into the space.
I'm going home.
Okay, good. How do you feel about going home?
Confident.
Okay, good. So let's forward this scene again, like you're pressing fast forward on a remote control. Walking all the way home, and we'll hit play when you get home. So maybe you're inside your home now, or maybe you're about to go inside. Let me know when you get there.
I'm inside.
Okay. How do you feel inside?
At peace.
Okay. Do you share this home with anyone else?
No.
Okay. Have you lived here alone for a long time?
Yes.
Okay. Good. What's your home like? What are you aware of?
Made of stone.
Okay. Did you make this house?
No.
Okay. Do you get a sense for how long you've lived here, or how you came upon this as your home?
No.
Okay. So we'll just relax here for a few moments and just let more details of this space at home just come in if they want. Come in if it's important. Doesn't seem like it's daytime or nighttime.
Daytime.
Okay.
Early.
Oh, okay, good. What are you doing at home right now?
I think an apothecary.
Oh.
Because I'm making things. And I
Okay.
have vials.
Oh, okay. How do you feel as you're making things? These vials and...
Proud and satisfied.
Good. So at this younger age, doing this work, do you get a sense of the history of this work with you? Like, did someone teach you to do this?
I think so.
Okay. So let's kind of lean into that a little bit. If you can get any information that might pop in about how you learned to do this work.
There was a woman who lived here before.
Oh, okay. Do you know what your relationship was to that woman?
We were not blood related.
Okay.
But I also don't have an idea of who my family was.
Okay. Did you live in this home with her?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what age I lived there.
Okay. When you think of that woman and your relationship with that woman, what comes to mind? Whether it's how she made you feel or how you felt about her.
I felt like she was like a grandmother,
Oh, okay, good.
but also like a professor to me.
Okay. Did you feel safe with her?
Yes.
Okay. What else are you aware of in this scene?
I think she has died.
The older woman?
Yeah.
Okay. Knowing that, thinking about her death, how does that make you feel as you do this work?
Very sad.
Yeah. So just allow those emotions to come up and out, knowing that you're totally safe. And that sometimes the sadness gets stuck in us like a little air bubble in sand. And so allowing it to come up and be acknowledged and felt will help release it out of your energetic body. Good.
I think she was hung.
Oh, tell me more.
I think I may have been hiding from whoever took her.
Oh,
They maybe didn't like what we were doing.
okay. When did she die?
Recently.
Oh, okay, okay. How does that make you feel about the work you do?
Nervous.
Okay. What else are you aware of here?
I think that people come seek us out to help with healing, not just like physical ailments. The things I'm making are to aid with physical ailments, but she could do more.
Oh. More like what?
Like healing using like energy or maybe ritual based.
Okay. If you were to look at this scene in this stone home in this beautiful nature area, if you were to zoom out so you could see it from a global view, do you have an idea of where on the planet this is? Even if it's just a country or a continent.
North America.
Okay, good. When you feel the sadness of having lost this woman who was like a grandmother and a professor to you, do you feel that in your body anywhere?
In my throat.
Okay. What does that feel like in your throat?
Tension.
Mm-hmm. Good. And we'll do some work with that in a little bit. But for now, we're going to move to a significant event in this past life. And on the count of 3, as I'm counting, the details from this scene will begin to fade and drift away. And then as I get to the number 3, you're going to feel more details coming in of another significant scene in this past life. 1, 2, and 3. Allowing the details of another scene to move in. More and more details. Effortlessly, automatically with each breath and each heartbeat. Now in this next scene, do you feel like you're inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay. Do you get a sense on the timeline of this past life? Does this scene happen before or after the first scene?
After.
Okay, good. What are you aware of in this scene?
I'm older. I'm in a village. Maybe I'm delivering
Okay.
things to people, but I'm walking freely. I don't feel afraid.
So you don't feel afraid here. Is that because you don't feel afraid in this village, or you don't feel afraid in general in your life anymore?
Both.
Okay, good. So what happens next?
I visit each house and I take like an inventory of maybe any ailments or how they're feeling,
Oh, okay.
what's going on. And the point is to come up with some sort of a natural remedy to anything that is causing them discomfort.
Okay.
And it's a small village, maybe 15 houses.
Do you get a sense, is this village pretty close to your home?
Yes.
And when you can put your space, put yourself, your consciousness and awareness in the space of you seeing these people, just kind of taking inventory of their ailments, of their needs. Do you get a sense of like how that feels in your body when you're seeing an ailment and matching it to a form of medicine or a tincture or something that'll help them?
Excitement.
Yeah. What does that feel like in your physical body?
It gets my mind engaged, kind of like, okay, here's a challenge.
Oh, okay.
And then I get an excitement in my chest when I have matched
Okay.
ailment to remedy.
Okay, good. What's that excitement in your chest feel like? Is it like bubbles? Is it like lightness?
Lightness.
Okay. So just allowing more details to come in and just slowly observing them as they do. What else are you aware of?
I don't know that there are any other like people around us. It's just this group of 15. I don't think there's any nearby towns or cities.
So is this primarily the people you work with?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So I'm going to ask a question, and you're just going to say the first thing that comes to your consciousness. And it might be a letter, it might be a word, it might not be anything, and that's okay. But do you get a sense of your name in this past life?
Maybe like Anna.
Okay, good. So we're going to move forward to another significant scene in this past life. And on the count of 3, we'll be there. 1, 2, and 3. Allowing the details of another scene, of another significant event in this past life to slowly begin to drop into your consciousness. Might be a feeling or a knowing, might be a visual picture.
I'm inside one of the houses.
What's happening here?
There's a little boy who's in a lot of pain, stomach pain, and it's just him and his mother. But I don't know if I've seen this before.
Oh, tell me more. This type of ailment?
Yeah.
Okay. How does that make you feel? Encountering something you've never noticed before?
I feel inquisitive.
Okay. So if we were to press pause on this scene, like you're pressing pause on a remote control, and you bring your focus on this boy and his mother, do any of them, sometimes people can see their faces, sometimes not. Sometimes it's just a sense of their essence, how they feel. Do either of these two feel familiar to you in terms of familiar to you in your life as Emily? It's okay if they don't.
Maybe.
Yeah. What are you thinking? What seems familiar?
The little boy seems familiar.
Okay. So what happens with this little boy? Are you able to help him?
No.
Do you get a sense of what happened if you were able to give him something and it didn't help, or if you couldn't find something?
We tried, and it was beyond what I could do.
Okay. So does he die?
Yes.
Okay. How does that feel?
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. Knowing you're totally safe and feeling these emotions just help them get them out of your energetic body. It's a way to honor and acknowledge all the work you did in that past life and all the care and compassion. Do you feel differently about your work after that happens?
No, I feel
Okay.
differently about myself.
Oh, tell me more.
Like a distrust.
Tell me more about that distrust, whether it's like a feeling in your body or you can tell you're doing things differently or...
I'm not as fluid. I hesitate.
Oh.
Even if I know the answer, I still question.
Great observation. Do you get a sense this mistrust in yourself, is this something that lasts the rest of your life? Or does it fade?
It fades with time.
Okay. When you hesitate, even if you know the answer, that when that mistrust comes into your consciousness, do you feel that in your body anywhere?
Or in my mind.
Anything else in this scene that you're aware of?
I think some of the town people also start to mistrust me.
Oh, okay.
No one's ever tied. I've never not been able to save somebody before.
Yeah. Good. So we're going to move now to the final scene in this past life. So it might be the day of, or a few hours or moments before your soul leaves that body. And on the count of 3, we'll be in that scene. 1, 2, and 3. Moving forward in time to to right before the soul leaves this body. Allowing the details of this scene to slowly float in. Good. Are you aware if you're inside or outside?
I'm in my home.
Okay. Are you alone?
No.
Who's there?
A young girl named Sarah.
Okay. What's she doing there?
She's my protege.
Oh. Do you get a sense for your age?
68.
Okay. Now, in this scene, are you aware that you're dying or going to die?
Yes.
Oh, tell me more. What allows you to be aware of that?
Because I'm tired.
Okay. So are you doing work or are you relaxing in bed?
Relaxing in bed.
Okay. As we lean into what's making you tired, what's going to eventually stop that body from working, do you get a sense of like a body part that stops or a body part or part of your body that's affected by this?
I think my lungs and heart.
Okay. And how do you feel knowing, being aware that you're dying on some level in this bed? Are you scared? Are you feeling relaxed?
I'm feeling relaxed and comfortable.
And is Sarah helping you or is she doing something else?
She's kind of milling around the house.
So let's move forward in time, whether it's a few days, minutes, or hours, moving forward now to when the soul leaves that body. So moving to when your soul has left that body, you're through the dying process, and now your soul is outside of that body, but still around that body. When our souls leave our body and they're still around our body, they have more of a connection to the universe, to the other side, to the astral plane, to wisdom, love, and guidance. Yet they're still very connected to earth with their emotions, any heaviness, energetic residues that they may have accumulated in that life. As your soul hovers around that body and thinks about that life, reflecting on that life from the vantage point of the soul, what comes into your consciousness about that life as you reflect?
Successful.
Oh, and tell me more. Why was that successful?
Because it was fulfilled and I was able to leave something behind. Knowledge.
Okay. And does that have, you were able to leave something behind, does that have something to do with your legacy, kind of your reputation among the villagers and people you helped, or does that have more to do with Sarah?
More the knowledge that I gave her to continue on.
Okay. What else comes up for you when you reflect on this life from the vantage point of the soul?
I was a caretaker.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that role?
Very much.
Yeah. What kind of rewards came from that role?
Watching the people kind of grow and blossom and develop.
Yeah. Good. Anything else as that soul leaves the body? Is there any thoughts or anything about maybe the things you feared in that life and whether that was valid or you spent too much time on it? Or
I spent too much time being afraid, but overcame it, and it was a fear that maybe I couldn't do it, like a self-doubt maybe.
okay.
I was still reliant on that woman.
Oh, okay. But you overcame it.
Yeah.
Anything else? Or is that it?
That's it.
Okay, good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that soul, and as it reflects on that life as that woman, and before the soul leaves that earth plane, do you get a sense if you're carrying any energetic residues, wounding, thought patterns, anything that's no longer serving you now in your life as Emily, that you're carrying from that past life that we can work to let go?
The fear still.
What about that fear? Is it more specific or specifically a fear of something?
I think I was afraid of like the power that I wielded and just the knowledge that I had, so I didn't lean on it or trust it the way I could have.
Oh, okay. And so do you get a sense of that fear of not trusting your power, of not being able to then lean on it? Do you get a sense if that fear has been released just by simply seeing this past life? Or do you get a sense if it lives in you somewhere?
I think it still lives somewhere.
Yeah, so let's do a body scan. So in your mind's eye, maybe working from toe to head or head to toe, just kind of thinking about where this could be living, whether it's like in your physical body or attached to your body or to your energetic field somewhere.
I think it's attached to my shoulders.
Okay, good. And so attached to your shoulders, if you were going to draw that or explain it to someone, is it like wearing armor? Is it like a weight on your shoulders? Is it like a pain, like a squeezing or a shocking or a vibrating? Like what does that feel like on your shoulders?
Kind of heavy and sharp.
Okay, good. And if you were to visualize that heavy, sharp, do you get a sense for like a color, a temperature? Is it shiny? Is it rough?
It's rough and it almost kind of looks like charred wood.
Ah, okay. So knowing that, we're going to work to release it. This kind of like heavy, sharp, charred wood on your shoulders. And now there's no wrong way to do this. And this is our birthright. This is the spirit side of us that's going to work to clear this and release it, because you don't need to carry that around anymore. And so for you, what feels good and right and best for releasing this off of your shoulders? Like, Are you going to take it off like a backpack? Do you want someone else to take it off? Do you want a magnet to pull it out, or a vacuum to suck it up, or any other idea? What feels like the best way to get rid of that?
Like maybe I'll cut it off.
Yeah. So imagine yourself now cutting that off, using whatever tool feels right and good. And I want you to just know that with each breath and with each heartbeat, you imagining yourself cutting that off, and just really wrap your mind around it as if you were really doing it. So maybe you feel it fall to the side in chunks, or maybe it has to come off in one big chunk. But I want you to take your time here and imagine, know, feel that you are cutting that off your shoulders. And this is that fear, this inability to trust, this inability to lean on your gifts, your power. And so knowing that, taking your time, I want you to just take your time and let me know when you have cut that off your shoulders.
I've cut it off.
Good. So now what I want you to do is feel your shoulders now. Do they feel lighter?
Light and smooth.
Oh, good. Good. And now let's take those charred chunks of wood. And this fear that created these charred chunks of wood on your shoulders, we're going to thank that fear for anything that it taught you. And we're now going to, like, in your mind's eye, with these big, strong hands, you're going to pick up those charred pieces and just mash it into a ball. And then we're going to get real wild. We're going to take that ball and you're going to catapult it into the sun. And you're going to see that ball hit the sun, and it's going to be like fireworks off the sun as that charred wood gets transmuted into a higher vibration, a higher frequency. And so it releases that fear into the sun, transmuted, and it allows the sun to bring that higher frequency of healing, nurturing, strength, and trust to come back down to earth with the rays of light from the sun. And so now you, with all your power, have removed that off of you. You've removed that fear, that mistrust, and in that you feel smooth, peaceful, and light. And you've not only helped yourself, but you've also helped Earth and everyone who lives with her. Do you feel any other residues that are still with you from that past life that are ready to be released?
No.
God, oh, you're doing so good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to count to 3, and as I do that, this past life, as this woman, is going to float away, and you're going to float away, so it's going to get small and move away real fast. 1, 2, and 3. Your soul is floating away from this past life and sending love and gratitude to that past life, your work in that past life, and everyone who you came into contact with in that past life. Sending them love and gratitude as you move into a space of safe spiritual guidance. Moving there now, this safe space of spiritual guidance. It might feel like a cloud to you. It might feel like a calm forest or time on the beach. There's no wrong way. It's just your personal safe space of spiritual guidance today. So in this safe space now, I'm asking Emily's higher self and spirit guides, what was the reason she was shown this past life at this time?
To understand that I could overcome the fear.
Yeah.
And that loss is okay, but you have to be able to move forward.
Anything else?
To encourage me to trust myself.
Good. To understand you can overcome fear, that loss is okay, but you have to move forward, and to encourage you to trust yourself. Those are all three very powerful. Anything else?
No.
Okay, good. So in that past life, Emily felt grief and she felt it in her throat. And I'm asking her higher self or spirit guides if that's something that has been released or if we should work on releasing that now.
It's released where it should be.
Okay. Another question for Emily's higher self and her spirit guides is a question about how she chooses relationships or partners, and if there's an energy she should pay attention to or be aware of when she's meeting people, like people she might potentially be in a relationship with. Specifically, in those instances, how can she know that she's trusting herself and that she's picking up on the right signals?
I just keep hearing, stop trying to save the little boy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow. Wow. Is there anything Emily needs to know about that or additional healing that her and I can do here to help her release this need to save that little boy? Or is it just letting that come into the conscious mind is enough? What else can she do there?
Don't approach people as their remedy. Just approach them at face value and then explore from there.
Is there any other insights or wisdom in terms of changing her point of view? If she has been choosing relationships based on maybe the need to make it right with that little boy, is there any other insights or wisdoms in helping Emily kind of change her point of view and how she shows up in those relationships or those potential relationships?
I keep hearing, let them splash because they won't drown.
Wow. As Emily moves through her daily life, for her, pollinators, monarchs are a sign she's on the right track. Are there any other signs that she gets sent her way but doesn't receive them for any other reason? Is there any other kind of sign that she should look out for?
Eyes to the sky.
Ooh, say more.
Paying attention to the sky and the sun.
Okay. And what will that do for her?
Enlightened with wonder and awe.
Now when we come outside and we look at the sky, And we have the time and the space in our brains and in our lives to feel that wonder and awe. Is this something that Emily already does and needs to do more of, or do it in a different way?
Needs to do more of.
Okay. Is there any insights or guidance on like how often should she do that?
Every day.
Okay. And is this something she could do like when she's walking to her car or running errands? Or does she need to set aside special time just for this?
Any time is appropriate. Best if I can give it set aside time.
And like how much time? Is this like an hour, 1 minute?
10 minutes.
Okay. Good. Anything else around that?
No.
Okay. Now, Emily's been on a journey with smoking cigarettes. Is there anything she needs to know about that journey? Whether it's something that'll help her overcome it, or a different point of view to take on it to help her just be kind and gracious to herself as she moves through this life and this cyclical journey with cigarettes?
In time, I'll want to move on from them.
Any insights, and maybe we don't need to know this, but what will that look like? Is it just going to look like longer periods where she's not interested in it and eventually it'll just not be an interest anymore? Or is there something she should look out for when it's time to stop?
It'll kind of phase out.
Okay. Any other insights or wisdom for Emily about anything we've discussed or anything new? Any images or words or points of view or words of affirmation that she can use to continue this journey and continue this trust in herself?
That I am bright and kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Feel it. It feels so good to get messages from spirit guides. What are you feeling right now, Emily?
Love.
Yeah. So what I want you to do is just know that I'm looking at this bowl, I'm going to play this bowl, and you're just going to feel that love from them. And the vibrations of this bowl and the love from them. Good. What else are you aware of here? Has anything else come in?
I feel deserving.
Yeah. Ooh.
That love.
Yeah. That is so powerful because we can get all the love in the world, but if we don't feel like we deserve it, we'll block it. And in that deserving, knowing that your heart is wide open. Yeah.
I'm kind of hearing it'll take time.
Yeah.
Trust yourself and it'll take time. Don't second guess. And if you trip, just keep walking. Maybe I try to look at things too closely. It seems like I should try and focus on a bigger picture.
Okay. Because when you focus on the bigger picture, what's the benefit there?
You get to see the timeline a little bit. You kind of get to see the direction you're headed, where you've come from, rather than where you're falling now.
Yeah. Do you get a sense if your spirit guides are there? Do you get a sense if this information that you're getting, this wisdom, these insights, is this from your higher self or a spirit guide or a combination?
It feels like a combination.
Okay. And sometimes we can feel as humans more close to something on the other side if we have a name. And we can trust that they're there and know that they're there, but we just feel more connected if there's a name or a letter. Is that something Emily can know right now, the name or the letter?
Ray.
Ooh. Is that a spirit guide?
Yes.
Good. you say Gray or Ray?
Ray.
Yeah. What? Okay. What's Ray's role as your guide? Does Ray have a specific role that you're aware of? Or is it just general assistance, support, guidance?
To me, it seems like it's more general assistance and guidance, but I think it's deeper than that.
Okay. And then one more question before we begin to journey back to the present moment. Is there anything that Emily can know, or something to say to herself or visualize or know about her journey just with her nails? Nail biting, nail picking, anything to know there?
That it's okay to stop.
Oh, say more.
I'm not really getting like a root cause,
And that's okay.
but just that it's just not necessary anymore. It's just you could stop now.
Okay. Any other insights or wisdom in general for Emily before we move away from this space?
Trust my voice.
And what does that look like when Emily trusts her voice?
Don't silence yourself for the benefit of others.
Okay. Does Emily know when she's doing this? And if she doesn't know all the time, is there something she can look out for just to know that she's doing it? Or is just simply knowing that enough?
Trusting the knowing.
Okay. All right, we're going to move now away from this space of spiritual guidance, knowing that your higher self and your spirit guides are always with you and always available to you. But for now, we're going to move away from the safe spiritual space of guidance, sending love and gratitude to your higher self, your spirit guide, yourself, and any other enlightened beings who are around us, who guide us and protect us. So moving closer and closer to the present moment. And now what I want you to do, Emily, is imagine yourself in the future, progressing through time, moving into time and through time. And I want you to visualize your hands, not as they used to be, but as they are becoming. And in your mind's eye, create a vivid image of your fingernails as smooth, attractive, good-looking, and feeling good. And in your mind's eye or your imagination, I want you to look at these hands, touch them, appreciate them, enjoy the way they look and feel. Your mind creates your own reality, and as your mind is creating this reality for you, this is how your hands got better. Long ago, you reached a decision, you made up your mind to the fact that you would like to do something better than bite your nails. Nobody wants to chew on parts of the body, and you don't have to do anything you don't like. Your mind is not a computer, but the human mind functions like a computer in many ways. Certain responses get programmed into it. Now your mind is programming another response, a better way of doing things. Whenever it seems you want to bite your nails, your hand will move towards your face, but you can let it stop before it reaches your mouth. And you'll stop your hand and you'll look at your hand while you decide deliberately whether you really want to bite your nails. If you decide that you do, then go ahead and chew them. But of course, nobody really wants to chew on parts of their own body. So you will decide that you would rather leave your nails alone, and you can let your hand move easily away from your face. And as you do this, you can remind yourself how attractive your hands are getting every single day. Day by day, they become more and more attractive, and you become prouder of them as each day passes. Now let your mind rehearse this reality for you. Imagine that your hand is moving towards your face without even thinking of it. Now watch your hand stop. Really watch your hand stop. You're looking at it, deciding what you want to do with it, and now let your hand move away from your face. While you remember how attractive your hands are becoming, you see your hand move away from your face. And each time you do this, your programming becomes stronger. And in time, anytime you choose, this will become second nature. And you will remind yourself that you have something better to do with your hands. Something that you choose. The right image will come to you. Seeing your hands, see this already accomplished, a positive end result, pleased and thankful for that success. And now journeying back to the present moment, remembering everything you've seen, heard, felt.
Well, how about those Minnesota accents? Listening back to it, it's thick in that room. Well, thank you so much for sticking with it to the end. Thank you so much for spreading the word. I've gotten a little boost in downloads on these episodes, and the only reason, Instagram has banned me from promoting my content because they say it's like full of lies or misleading or something, which is totally fine because when they banned me from promoting things, I was actually at a point in my life where I was like, do I really want to be giving these people money? Is it really worth it? Like, yes, it helps the podcast, but on a grander level of just my energetics, do I want to be putting money toward this kind of thing? Social media, Instagram, all of it. And I don't really have any super strong opinions about it, but when I was banned from promoting my posts on Instagram, I was like, oh, thank you for that divine intervention. Anyway, all of that to say is any growth that I have is due to you and listeners who click the 5 stars on Apple, listeners who download, they subscribe, who send it to their friends and their friends send it to friends. I really can't thank you all enough. I mean, I've never, ever in my life felt so supported and so thankful for that support. So know that someday I hope I can give you a hug. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being open to these fun conversations. And you know the drill. If you found something to affect you, to lighten the load, take it with you. And if you didn't, anything else that doesn't serve you, just leave it right here. Until next time, goodbye.